Hi, I'm Scott Morgan, software engineer on Roland Cloud. I'm also a composer and sound designer. What you just heard was Tera Guitar, one of the new instruments we've been working on. In this video, I'm going to go over existing and upcoming features of the instrument, while also explaining the theory behind it on a real guitar. I'll give you some tips and tricks on the best way to use the instrument so that even non-guitarists can get amazing sound out of it. Fret shift is a feature that allows you to change your virtual hand position, which is where your left hand goes on the guitar, via the software. So what that ultimately does is it changes your timbre or tone of your notes, not necessarily the pitch. So, give an example. When you're playing low on the neck, to play the same notes, you're going to have to play with a higher string or a thinner string. So like if I'm playing E and F on the high E string, it's going to sound like this, which is a brighter sound. Now if I want to play those same notes on the A string, which is a lower or thicker string, I'm going to have to shorten the string a lot and fret way up higher. So and it's going to sound much darker even though they're the exact same pitches. And of course, there's more places where you can play those same two notes on the guitar. So just give me examples. Now, what we've done with Tera Guitar is we've allowed access to all those sounds via a MIDI control. So here's the same thing with the Tera Guitar. So I've got the mod wheel here mapped to control the fret shift control, which is default in the instrument. And so with it at the bottom position, I'm playing in first position on the guitar. So I will play those same two notes, E and F. Now we're to shift. And you hear the cute little slide sound, which you can change the volume of or just turn off completely. An upcoming feature for Tera Guitar is legato. Legato is when you're playing two or more notes smoothly, where you're connecting them smoothly. On guitar, there's two techniques that allow you to do this, depending on which way you're going with the note, either up or down. For up, they're called hammer-ons, and for down, it's called pull-offs. I'm going to demonstrate each. So a hammer-on is, well, they're both pretty much exactly what they say they are. If you play an A and you want to go to a B without picking, then what you'll do is you'll take, with your left hand, you'll hammer on the note on the higher fret. So again, you can see that I'm not picking that note, and it gets a smoother sound than if I were to pick each note. And the opposite is if I'm going down. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of flick a little bit with my upper finger to make the lower notes sound that I'm already fretting. So demonstrate. So that's a pull off. So using a combination of hammer-ons and pull-offs, you can do like a trill, as opposed to picking them all. So, and now I'm going to show you a special problem where if you're trying to do legato between two certain notes in this without shifting position on the guitar. So, say I'm in first position with my hand all the way up here on the neck on the first fret, and I want to play legato between, say, the open B string and a D sharp on the 4th fret. So that's easy to do. I can do a hammer on, and but if I want to do a E, now I have to shift up to the 2nd position. But if I want to stay in the same position, then I'm probably going to just play the string, play on a different string, and maybe even overlap them if I'm doing an arpeggio. So now I'll show you what implications this has on the keyboard. So here's the same kind of thing with the Tera guitar. So I'm going to play the same notes, B and E, and you hear they're overlapping because they're on different strings. Now I'm going to play a B to a D sharp, which is going to get legato because I have legato mode enabled, and you get a hammer on to the 2nd note because you overlap them and they're on the same string. Similarly, if you go down, you get an overlap, and now I'm going to play a D sharp, and you get a pull off to the B because it's the same string. Now, what's cool about this is it kind of forces you to play like a real guitar player in that position, where some notes are going to be legato between them, and then some notes aren't. But you can still play chords. Whereas if we didn't do it like that, then it would be like, you know, your typical electronic monophonic instrument where you could only play one note at a time always. So this is quite flexible. Now another thing is that like we've been talking about, depending on where you're at virtually, hand position, you're going to get different notes to be enabled to be legato or not. Like for instance, if I'm trying to do a trill between a D sharp and an E in first position, you're going to get 4th fret on the B string and open on the E string, so they're going to overlap. But if I shift the position up a little bit, now the 5th fret's enabled. So now you do get that trill, the legato. And one thing that's really fun about this is that you could start shifting all over the neck, and this is very difficult to do with a real guitar, but you can get this crazy kind of color shifting as you do a trill just by moving your controller. And you can get the alternate pick sound. And it's really fun when you start adding more notes in. Rake is another upcoming feature on Tera Guitar. Now, what a rake is it's a technique used in like lead playing usually, or a bluesy kind of playing, and what it generally means to most guitar players is that you're playing a series of dead notes up to your target lead note. Now, what a dead note is when you just have like the strings covered, and you're just playing your kind of percussive sound. And if you strike a whole bunch of them in series, that's kind of a rake, and usually it leads up to like a higher note, like that. And you can even go down with it if you're on a lower string. So we basically enabled rake to play if you're only playing one note at a time on the guitar. If you're playing if you already have a bunch of notes playing, we don't actually do it because you get rakes with every note and actually become a mess. So you could do things something like that. And then there's another version we have of it, which is the fast rake. And we've taken a kind of different approach to how we use the fast rake. There's kind of a different mode a guitar player will go into where they're striking all the strings, but only allowing one of them to sound. And let me just give an example of something that you might do here. So here I'm definitely striking all the strings, and I'm going past the target note. So now let me demonstrate on the keyboard. Okay, so here we are with the Tera Guitar, and I'm going to turn up my rake volume and put it into fast mode and play the same riff. And now I'm going to enable slow mode. And if you play a note just out of the blue, you get a rake. And one thing about this is you don't always want a rake for every single note you're playing. That would actually be, especially with the slow rakes, that would be like way overkill, right? So if you watch the beginning of the video, I actually had slow rakes enabled through that whole thing. But since it only works if you're not playing any notes already, because like if you're playing a chord, for instance, you don't want it to rake for every single note that you're playing. So that's one big reason we did it like that. So it kind of enables you good control of whether you're getting a rake or not. I think it works out really nicely. So I'm going to play you kind of what I did at the beginning. It was an improvisation, but I'll play something similar. So I play the first note, which gets a rake. And now I want a rake all of a sudden to accent the next note. And you could kind of simulate a chord strum using it if you play a bass note and then kind of delay the chord after that a little bit. It comes out nicely sometimes. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll be rolling more of these out as we release more instruments, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.